Good luck.
Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün İngiltere'de ilk 30, dünyada ise ilk 250'de yer alan University of Reading'de eğitim olanaklarını Frankie'den dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Ayrıca post kısmındaki ankette de cevaplamanızı rica ederiz. Yes, Frankie, the stage is yours now.
Great, thank you so much. Hi everybody, my name is Frankie Hunt and I'm the Regional Manager for Student Recruitment from Europe at the University of Reading. So I wanted to give you some information about the University of Reading today, and then at the end can answer any questions that you've got. So if you just make a presentation nice and big and I'll get started. So obviously I've just introduced myself actually first, but yes, so I look after both Europe and the Americas, and I'm part of the General Global Recruitment Team and the International Division at the University of Reading. So as I said, I'm going to give you a general overview of the university today, but also break that down to be a little bit easier. So we're also going through our rankings and our research, our entry requirements, the admissions process, our pre-sessional English programs, scholarships, which is always really popular, university facilities, and then, as I said at the end, we can go through any questions that you have. Also, I think my colleague may have mentioned it, but there are a number of polls that are listed. If you could find time to complete those at some point during the session, that would be great, and just allows us to know a little bit more about you and the types of programs that you're interested in, so we can make sure that we're sending you the right information afterwards that's most relevant to you. So the University of Reading is a pretty old university, what we call a red brick university. So we were founded originally in the 1890s as a University of Oxford Extension College. And then we gained our royal charter, becoming our own university in 1926. So we've been educating international students for a really long time. In fact, we've educated 150,000 people from 180 different countries across the world. And we actually welcomed our first international student back in 1908, and they were an agriculture student that came to us all the way from Kenya. In addition to this, to give you a bit more background, we're a four-time winner of what's called the Queen's Anniversary Prize, which is a prize awarded every year for excellence in teaching and research in higher education. So we've run this for our English literature and Shakespeare studies, typography, meteorology, and our agriculture department as well. I'll show you a picture of the campus in a little bit, but just as a taster, we've won the Top University Green Space in the UK award for the 9th year running in 2019. So as I said, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a while, but it is a really beautiful place to spend your time. In case you don't know very much about Reading, hopefully you can see us on the map. So we're in the southeast of the UK, and we're very close to London. We're in fact about 25 minutes away from central London by train. We've actually recently just been joined up to the London Underground. So we have a line called the Elizabeth line, which is now going from Reading all the way across London and links directly into that tube network. So it's really easy to get into London if you want to go there for any reason. And because of that, it also means that we're really close to quite a few international airports, which is particularly useful for international students joining us from overseas. So we have London Heathrow International Airport, very close to Reading. It's about 40 minutes by taxi or about an hour by bus. Or you can also go to London Gatwick International Airport, where some of the lower cost airlines fly from. And that's about an hour and a half to 2 hours away by train directly from Reading as well. You can also get to quite a few different places from Reading. We are a rail hub and we have a very large train station. So you can get all the way up to Scotland directly from Reading. You can get to Liverpool and Manchester in about 4 hours. You can get to Oxford in about 30 minutes and down to the south coast of the beach in about 90 minutes as well. So to give you a bit more information about Reading itself, rather than just what's near it. So we are a commercial centre in the Thames Valley in the UK. Thames Valley is a little bit like Silicon Valley. but for the UK. So like Silicon Valley in the US, it has a lot of technology companies in between Reading and London across that stretch of motorway and highway. In fact, Reading actually has quite a few headquarters of multinational companies in it. So we have the UK headquarters of Microsoft just outside of Reading, Oracle, and then have a number of different other very large offices such as Prudential, Huawei have a very large office in Reading, Ericsson, PepsiCo, and Virgin Media as well. In addition, because of that, we actually have quite a lot of small to medium-sized enterprises and blue chip companies. So if you are interested in getting into the business or technology sectors, then Reading is a really good place to be. Outside of the world of work, we are also a regional hub for culture, shopping and recreation. You can see our mall, so our shopping centre in the bottom left-hand corner, which is called the Oracle. Picture in the centre is as part of the town centre, just by our historic town hall and main church. And then on the right-hand side, some of the local countryside that's nearby. We're very lucky in Reading to have access to a huge amount of English countryside. If you drive about 10 minutes in any direction out of Reading, you hit some really beautiful scenery. So if you do like nature and spending your time walking and hiking and getting involved in kind of water sports and boating activities on lakes, then again, Reading is a really good place to be. So not just about the city. To give you a bit more information about the university so you can understand the size. So we are quite a large university. We have just over 20,000 students in total that are studying with us, including those students that are at our offshore campuses. About 15,000 of those are home students, and then just under 4,000 are international students. So we do have quite a large international student community. About 80% of our undergraduate students, we're very happy to say, do very well and graduate with a first or a 2-1, so in the top percentile of students. And just under 80% of our postgraduate students also graduate with a distinction or a merit. So generally about over a 3 out of 4 GPA for just under 80% of them. So we have 2 main campuses at the University of Reading. The big campus where most of our lessons are taught is our White Knights campus, which is the one on the left-hand side. This is our Parkland campus that I was talking about as winning an award for earlier. So it was originally a country estate that belonged to a member of English nobility that was donated to us back in the 1960s. This means that we have a manor house, which is now our School of Law, which is really beautiful. We have a lake on campus. We have a botanical gardens. We have a lot of woodland, playing fields, green open spaces. It really is very beautiful and relaxing place to spend time when you're not studying. On the right-hand side, we have London Road, which is right in the centre of Reading and is our historic campus. So this was the original campus of the University of Reading. It now houses our Institute of Education, so our teaching courses, and also our Institute of Architecture. Apart from that, a lot of students might go and do some of their exams in some of the larger buildings down on London Road. And it also has our Great Hall there, where all of our students graduate at the end of their time with us. So I said I'd show you a picture of the main campus, and here it is. And you can see just from this one aerial shot what a beautiful place it is to spend your time. So you can see White Knights Lake on the left-hand side here. That is the manor house I was talking about, which is Foxhill House, which is the School of Law. You can see these buildings here at the front are actually some of our student accommodation. And because we are a campus university, it does mean that we're lucky to be able to have nearly all of our student accommodation on campus, and the rest of it is within a 5 or 10 minute walk of the main campus. So it is very easy for you to get to your lectures and seminars when you're studying with us. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about key rankings and research. So we are a very research heavy university, and a lot of our staff are very actively involved in promoting their research and also attending conferences and writing publications. This means that just under 100% actually of our research is internationally recognized according to the Research Education Framework. We're currently 205th worldwide in the QS World University Rankings, and we're very proud of our employability rate, where about 94% of our graduates are in work or study within 6 months of graduating from the university. In addition to being 205th in the world, we are also in the top 30 in the UK. So actually 27th out of 84 UK universities in the QS rankings for this year. We do also have a number of subjects that are in the UK top 20 and indeed the UK top 10. So our land and property management course is really highly acclaimed. That's our real estate programs, building sciences, so construction management and surveying, agriculture, our oral and oral sciences, so speech and language pathology and language sciences courses, food sciences and nutrition, planning, education, marketing, classics, archaeology, and linguistics. So you get an idea about the type of courses that we do offer and how they sit within the university. And we have 4 overarching faculties that look after all of our courses. So we have arts, humanities, and social sciences, including such things as art, education, English and linguistics, history, law, philosophy, and politics. We then have a main science faculty, which is every type of science that isn't a life science, basically. So archaeology, computer science, maths, earth sciences, meteorology, geography, and construction management and engineering as well. We then have our life sciences department, mainly involving kind of biomedical and biological sciences. So biological sciences, chemistry, food sciences, pharmacy, and our psychology and clinical language sciences fall within this as well. And then last and certainly not least, we have Henley Business School, which looks after our accounting, business, finance, informatics, and real estate and planning programs. Just to give a little bit of extra information about Henley Business School, as I know it can sometimes be a little bit confusing to applicants when they're trying to look up studying a business course with the University of Reading. So Henley Business School is part of the University of Reading, and they are our business school teaching all of our undergraduate and business and postgraduate business level courses. They were originally their own business school teaching executive education, and they became part of the University of Reading in 2008 and then started teaching all of our courses. They are a very highly accredited business school. They have the triple accreditation where all of their courses are accredited by awarding bodies in the UK, USA, and Europe. And it's also home to the ICMA Centre, which is the finance school within Henley Business School, which teaches a lot of kind of investment finance, investment banking type courses as well. So I just wanted to give a little bit of information about our International Foundation Programme. So if you don't qualify directly for one of our undergraduate programs, we do also have a fantastic International Foundation Programme that will bridge that gap between high school and your degree programme and help prepare you for university study. It is taught by University of Reading lecturers, it's taught on our campus, and the students that take our International Foundation Programme are all very much part of the main university community, which can give it some advantage over foundation programmes given by pathway providers sometimes. There are a few different ways to join an International Foundation Programme. You can join us either in September or January. You can study this on campus or actually now fully online as well. And we actually also have a £2,500 automatic scholarship to Turkish students as well. So you do get your fees at a slightly reduced rate if you come and study with us. So just to give you a general idea of our entry requirements, if you are looking to join that International Foundation Programme, we would look for a Turkish high school diploma with about 65% overall. If you're looking to directly join an undergraduate programme, we can consider lots of different qualifications, but I wanted to put the 3 main ones I thought would be relevant here. So at A levels, they range between 3 A's to 3 B's, depending on which course you're applying for. At IB, it would be somewhere between 30 to 35 points. And then if you're applying with your Turkish high school diploma, somewhere between 73 to 82%. So you can see if you don't quite hit that, you can always join the International Foundation Programme to help bridge the gap and get that direct entry into an undergraduate programme. If you're looking to join us for a master's degree, most of our master's degrees would ask for the equivalent of a 2.2 to 2.1 in the UK system, which is around about a 2.5 to 3.0 GPA under the Turkish education system. So how to apply? Of course, there are a few different ways in which you can apply depending on the level that you're applying for. So if you do want to apply for the International Foundation Programme, you can apply for a UCAS, so that's the UK University Application System, or for the Foundation Programme, you can apply directly as well through our RISES application portal, which is listed on our website. For undergraduate applications, we only accept applications through UCAS, where you can put us down as one of your 5 choices. So we don't accept direct applications for our undergraduate programmes. For master's or PhD applications, you would also use the RISES application portal that I mentioned before. So it's just the IFP and master's and PhD for direct, and then undergraduate applications will all go through UCAS. If you don't quite hit the English requirement for your particular programme, then we do also offer pre-sessional English programmes, starting from an IELTS of 4, where you study for 41 weeks, which is, of course, quite a long time. But most students tend to come and study with us for 12, 6 or 9 weeks to prepare them for their university study. We also offer what's called a half band credit for most of our degree courses. So as an example, if you needed to get to an IELTS of 6.5, but you had an IELTS of 5.5, as long as you could get to an IELTS of 6 in the pre-sessional English programme, then we would allow you entry into your main programme. So it's a little bit of extra insurance and reassurance for you as a student, as you're already part of the university community, to be able to progress into your main degree. The application deadlines vary each year for these programmes, but they're normally about a month before the course start dates. Though I'd usually recommend, particularly if you're applying for the 6 or 9 week programmes, they are very popular, and when they're full, they're full. So always try and apply for those as soon as you can. In this particular year, we're offering it either fully online or through blended learning, depending on whether or not you're able to get to us with travel restrictions. So we're trying to keep that really flexible for our students. So with scholarships, which is usually people's favourite topic, we do have a number of different scholarships that are available for our students to try and make university as accessible as it can be for you. So for undergraduate students, we have our Vice Chancellor Global Scholarship Award. So this is being offered this year for the first time, and we're hoping it will extend into 2022 as well. So this is an automatic scholarship for the 50 best international undergraduate applicants, and they'll receive a £4,000 reduction every year off their student fees. For our master's scholarships, we have a huge range available for our students. So this year we had our general international scholarships, which were £4,000 each. We have our £4,000 subject international scholarships. Both of those can be combined together, by the way. And Henley Business School also offers their own range of subject-based scholarships, which can actually also be up to 50% of the academic fee. So there are lots of different scholarships that you're able to apply for, which will hopefully aid that transition from undergraduate to master's study in the UK. So for international student support, we want to try and make sure that you feel as supported as possible and that you've got access to the right sort of facilities and services that you need as an international student. So firstly, we have our academic English programme. So this is offered to all international and EU students who come to study with us. It's all for free, included in your student fees. And these run alongside your main academic degree programme. It's to help you with your conversational English. It helps you with academic English and learning how to reference in UK style, and really trying to help you to achieve the best grade that you can and improve your essay writing and course participation skills. With RUSU, which is our Reading University Students' Union, they organise a huge amount of events across the year for our students and are also able to support on pastoral matters as well. They currently offer just over 150 different student clubs and societies. It's not just sports, it's also culture and faith societies for our chaplaincy. And they have a number of different kind of hobby and interest societies, music societies, choirs, bands, and there's a huge amount that you're able to get involved with. Generally, if you have a hobby, then there's a club for it. So you'll be able to join up with like-minded students and to help you settle and make friends. In regards to our career services, we were recently awarded in the top 10 university career services in the UK, and you are able to book one-to-one appointments as often as you'd like to with our careers advisors. We run different careers fairs throughout the year that you're able to attend. And we try and give you as many opportunities as possible to get in front of potential employers and to learn valuable skills that will help you to get a job once you've finished university. With accommodation, as I mentioned earlier, our accommodation is either all on campus or within a very short walk from the main campus buildings. We do have a different range of accommodation that's available to suit a variety of different budgets. So that ranges from a standard room with a single bed, that's wash basin, we have all shared facilities, right up to kind of a studio flat, but you're not sharing any facilities. So it really does depend on the type of budget that you have and the type of accommodation that you want to live in. We do also have a choice between catered and self-catered accommodation. So our catered students pay a little bit more per week, but they have some money loaded onto their student card to buy meals on campus. And our self-catered students cook all of their meals themselves within a shared kitchen. With our library, you're very lucky in that we just finished refurbishing our library, and we spent over 40 million in redeveloping and refurbishing that library for student use. So you can see one of the shared study areas in that right-hand picture and the new outside of the university library on the left-hand picture. So this is open 24 hours a week during term time, which is very helpful when you're trying to write essays. And you can also book individual study pods and presentation rooms if you do have group work that's due. So I mentioned some sports clubs, but it is important to mention all the different sports facilities that we have available to our students. So we do have a gym and sports hall available at a subsidised rate to students who can pay a small amount monthly to use all of the services. We have fitness classes that are available, which is from our fully air-conditioned studios. We have a cardio room, we have a weights room, and lots of different sports teams that students can get involved with, not just for fun, but also they can play competitively against other universities if they would like to. So just wanted to give you a few useful resources and email addresses that could be of interest to you. So if you did want to make some inquiries about our pre-sessional English programs, you can contact the team directly. If you want to contact any of our admissions teams, they all have a similar pattern. So the IFP admissions, UG admissions, or PG admissions at Reading, depending on the level that you're looking for. If you want to make an application, you can do that directly through the RISES portal that's listed here. And if you want to have a look at a bit more detail of the accommodation, you can have a look at the link here, or if you just put Reading University accommodation into Google, then it will bring up all of the different options so you're able to look at them in a bit more detail. So I've tried to be nice and quick, so you've got lots of time to ask me questions, which I think I can hear coming through at the moment. If you do want any of those email addresses again, I will go back to it before the end so you're able to write them down. But for now, I think I'll start having a look at any questions that have come through. And please feel free to keep asking those as we go through. And do remember to try and fill in the poll questions so we know what information to send you. So thank you so much. I hope this has been useful. And now I'm going to have a look at the questions that you've been asking. So I can see, I think what was the first question that came in was how will be accepted if we decide to study there and how much is the amount? So once you make an application, I don't know if you're asking about postgraduate or undergraduate, which would be really helpful to know. But if you are asking about our postgraduate programs, then once you've made your application, then we will come back to you within 4 weeks with a decision. So within 4 weeks of making that application and submitting that final application, you will know whether or not you've been accepted. Once you've got that answer, you're then able to choose whether or not you accept that offer or whether or not you decline the offer. So if you choose to accept the offer, then you pay a £1,000 deposit to hold your place. And then after that, that will then be deducted off your student fees. So I can see there's also a question here about scholarship opportunities. And I think that came through before I went through the scholarship opportunities. So hopefully that's already answered your question. But if you do have any further questions about the scholarships that you don't feel that I covered, then please do ask again, and I'll go back to that. I can see you've also asked a question about our TOEFL or Ielts requirements. So that will actually depend on which course it is that you're applying for. So some of our courses, such as our humanities courses and ones that require a lot of writing, will ask for a 7.0 in Ielts just because of the amount of essay writing and kind of English writing that's involved in those programs and text comprehension and things like that. But if you're applying for one of our more scientific programs or one of the business programs, then we'd be able to accept the 6.5 for this year. As a TOEFL, I believe that's 88 for a 6.5 and 100 is equivalent to an Ielts of 7. So I can see I've also got a question about the graduate applications process. So I think I answered what happens once you've made your application, but I can go through how you actually make the application itself. So as I said, all of our postgraduate applications are made directly with the university. So if you're making a postgraduate application, you need to upload your undergraduate degree certificate with a certified translation if it's not in English, your full undergraduate degree transcript, 2 academic references, your statement of purpose, so your personal statement explaining why it is you want to come and study with us. And then we'd also need your proof of English language ability if you have it already, and a scan of your passport pages. So the photo pages on your passport, so we're able to issue a visa when the time comes. If you don't have your English language certificate yet, don't worry. You can still make an application, and then your offer given would be conditional on you providing proof of that English language ability. So you could always email the English language certificate to us at a later point in time. So you've also asked about accommodation. Again, hopefully I feel like I answered that, but please let me know if you require any further information. And with the tuition fees, they really do vary quite a bit from program to program. So it's difficult for me to answer without knowing what program you're interested in. But as a rough guide, if you're looking at a kind of humanities or more essay-based program, you're looking somewhere in the region of about 17 to 19,000 per year. If you're doing a much more scientific-based course that has a lot of access to specialist equipment or laboratory type equipment, you're looking at about 20,000 a year. And if you're applying for one of the finance business programs, it can be slightly over 20,000. So it will vary by program. So I'd always advise to have a look at the university website because they're all published on there to make sure you get the exact answer for your particular program that you're interested in. So I see another question here about the process after acceptance. Again, hopefully, I'm thinking that I've covered that off, but just to reiterate it again for you. So once you're accepted to the university, you can then log in and accept that offer. And you then pay your £1,000 deposit to secure your place. You can't apply for accommodation until you have accepted that offer. So do bear that in mind when thinking about those accommodation timelines. So once you've accepted your offer, you'll then receive your student contract, and they'll let you know if there are any conditions outstanding on your offer. So as an example, if we haven't got your IELTS certificate yet, then you won't have a full unconditional offer until we receive that IELTS result. Once your offer becomes unconditional, that's at the point when we can potentially issue a CAS number for you to apply for your student visa. We generally issue all of those in the summer, leading up to students joining us in the September. So once you've got an unconditional offer and it gets to about June or July sort of time, then you should receive a CAS number, which is your visa application kind of identification number. So you're able to then apply for your student visa and hopefully also accept any accommodation offer that you've been given. See a question here, which is if we're graduated from the, I believe that would be the IB diploma, I think you're asking me about, do we still need to take IELTS? So if you are studying the IB, then that does fulfill your English language requirement. So you don't need to provide further proof of English language. The only time that would be an exception would be if you're applying for a foundation program where we do need a UKVI IELTS test. We don't need that for undergraduate. We are able to assess your English language ability ourselves under visa regulations. So if you are applying to an undergraduate program directly using your IB diploma, then no, that you don't need to take an IELTS because that will fulfill your English language requirement already. See another question here related to online education. So so I'm sure you could appreciate it's been quite a challenging year for universities. I know it has been in Turkey, and it's been the same in the UK. So we started last September with a blended learning approach. So we had students who were able to join us on campus and were able to attend some small face-to-face tuition with social distancing in place, and the larger lectures were all online. So when the UK went into lockdown in January, all of our lessons moved online for safety reasons, and we're currently awaiting further government guidance regarding this. So we're hoping to have all of our students starting to move back on campus by May with the current government guidelines. But of course, that will depend on how variants are in the country and how the coronavirus levels are at the moment. But if it's related to autumn, unfortunately, we're not able to tell at this point how things will be taught. But you can rest assured that we're very used to providing online education at this point. And if for any reason you weren't able to join us straight away in September, there should hopefully be some way for you to continue your education. See a question here related to GMAT. So the only time we would ask for a GMAT would be if you wanted to study a finance course, but you hadn't studied anything mathematical or financial or statistical at undergraduate level. Then we might ask for a GMAT to prove your quantitative ability. But apart from that, no. So if you were looking to do a master's in management, for example, or a master's in business management, then no, we would not ask for a GMAT score. That would just be assessed on your undergraduate GPA. So I have a question here related to our accommodation. So yes, we do have our on-campus dorms. Said they're all either on campus or within a kind of 5 to 10 minute walk of the main campus buildings. The advantage of that campus accommodation is, of course, that it's on campus, so it's nice and easy for you to get to your lessons. It's a very short commute time for you, and it's all looked after under the main university system. It's also an all-inclusive rate that you're paying, so you pay termly to the university, and that covers your accommodation, all of your kind of utility bills and electricity bills, and your internet access and general security from our on-campus security team is all covered under that. So there are, of course, lots of private apartments and private student accommodations available in the city centre, the town centre. They can be slightly cheaper on rent, but then, of course, you're paying your bills on top of that, and you're potentially paying move-in fees, and it might not be quite as flexible as university accommodation sometimes. So it's worth having a look on various different websites and trying to compare some prices. Some of the private student accommodations are very luxurious, so are therefore a little bit more expensive, but it all depends on what your priorities are on the type of accommodation that you want to live in. So I know I can't answer that definitively for you, but it's worth comparing the two. And if you go on the accommodation pages on our website, there is a little bit of information about private accommodation versus on-campus accommodation that I think in particular to you would be quite helpful to have a look at. So this is a question here on scholarship opportunities for professional sportsmen. And the only scholarship I think that we offer at the moment would be related to rowing, because the university has a very strong rowing team, just because of our proximity to the River Thames and Oxford as well. But I think that's the only scholarship that we offer with regards to sportsmen at the moment. So all of our other scholarships are related to, well, kind of the I guess, merit-based scholarships. So they're related on your scores at undergraduate level or your scores at high school, depending on which scholarship it is that you're applying for. Okay, there's a question is, what's the tuition for computer science undergraduate? So what I'm actually going to do very quickly is I will bring it up for you. So I will say this will be our fee for 2021 entry. Our fee for 2022 entry isn't fully confirmed yet, but this should give you some guidance and idea about the type of fee that we'd be asking. Okay, so for our computer science degree program, you'd be looking at just over £20,000 a year. But of course, if you received some type of scholarship, then that could be slightly less. And also another question related to tuition fees. So how much the tuition fee for masters and PhD programs? Again, this does vary by program. So some masters programs will have different fees to others just because of the type of masters program that they are. So if they have access to very specific facilities or a lot of laboratory work and contact hours, then the fee will be slightly higher. And if they're more essay-based and research-based subjects, then the fee will be slightly lower. And it's the same for PhD programs as well. But if you let me know which particular program is that you'd be looking at, then I can tell you what the fee would be for that. So next question is related to specific subject requirements for master's degrees. So again, this will actually also depend on the master's degree that you're applying for. So some of our master's degrees will require prerequisite knowledge. So as an example, if you wanted to study some of our clinical psychology master's degrees, then you would need to have studied a undergraduate in a related psychological field. However, we do also have a conversion program for psychology where you can come to it from any field. And similarly, with some of our ancient history master's programs, you wouldn't need any subject knowledge at undergraduate level. For a lot of our business programs, they're designed as conversion master's degrees, so you could study from any academic background. So it will again depend on which master's program it is that you're interested in. And if you do let me know in the question or the chat, then I can let you know about that specific program. So here's a question here related to physics. Unfortunately, we don't have a physics school at the university, so it's not a subject that we teach. We do teach physics in the way of physics of the environment. So it's more related to kind of climate sciences and meteorology, the type of physics that we teach at the university, but we do not have a physics department, unfortunately. So next question is related to the importance of qualifications, for example, sports, music and volunteer programs. So we do always like our students to be very well-rounded, if possible. So when you're making your application and you're writing your personal statement, particularly at undergraduate level, actually, we do like to hear about your extracurricular activities outside of your academic studies. They can help with your application and help us to find out a bit more about you as a student, and it will differentiate you, so make you stand out from another student. But our offers are primarily given on the basis of academic achievement. So you will need to hit the minimum entry requirement on an academic side. But if you and another student have the same grade and you both meet the requirement, that is when we'd start considering kind of extracurricular activities to decide which students to offer places. So yes, it is important, but we do also put a lot of emphasis on that academic ability because we want you to do well at the program while you're studying with us. So next question is related to an associate's degree. They will be taken into consideration as well as any other certificates that you do have. So your TESOL certificate that you've mentioned here, but you will need to meet our main entry requirements in order to get entry to a program. If you do have an associate degree with a very good grade and you wouldn't have hit our main entry requirements, for example, for undergraduate degree, we can still consider you, but our applications are considered on a case-by-case basis. So I think I'd need to look at your particular case in a bit more detail. And I will put my email in the chat at the end again as well. So if you do want to contact me directly and give me some more background information, then I can look into it and speak to our admissions department for you. So a question asking if we can come for foundation as the last year of high school. Not as far as I'm aware. unfortunately. The foundation program is more designed for students if they don't quite hit our main entry requirements. So as I said, we're looking at somewhere above 73% in your high school diploma to get direct access to undergraduate program. However, if you have between 65 and 73%, then you can come and do the International Foundation program, which is the one-year program, which will then qualify you for direct entry. So no, you can't swap your high school for it, unfortunately, but it does allow you to still have access to University of Reading courses, even if you don't quite hit our main entry requirement. So next question is related to English language again. So it's a question between the IELTS academic or the academic UKVI. So we would ask for a UKVI for our foundation programs. So any pre-degree program needs what we call a SELT, so a secure English language test, of which UKVI IELTS is one of those. However, for our master's or PhD programs, we can accept the main IELTS academic test. So you don't need to take a UKVI IELTS to get entry to our master's or PhD programs. So the next question is related to subject requirements. So for finance, master's or MBA. So with our MBA program, we only offer an executive MBA program. So that's for mid-level managers. So it also depends what point you're at in your career. If you were interested in a part-time executive MBA program, then we would be looking for you to have 5 years of managerial experience, as well as having an undergraduate degree with at least a 3.0 GPA. If you were looking for a finance master's, I touched on this a little earlier, but for most of our finance degree programs, we would need you to have an undergraduate degree that had some mathematical or statistical background. So you'd need to have taken a few modules and got good grades in, for example, maths, statistics, kind of econometrics, finance, accounting, something mathematical. So we know that you could meet the quantitative demands of that particular program. If you don't have that type of background, you can still take a GMAT to prove your quantitative ability. But also even for some of our finance programs, we actually take students from any background. So it's worth having a look at what's offered on the Henley Business School and ICMA Centre websites. And then you can find out what the requirements are for the specific finance program that you're interested in. Because we actually have about 10 of them. So it's quite a lot of very specialist programs. So you should find something that you're interested in there. And I think I've actually got to the top. So you've all asked so many questions. So thank you so much for being so engaged today. And the last question I have here is whether or not you have the opportunity to work part-time while you're studying, which the university can help you to find. So yes, is the answer to that under the terms of your visa. So I won't say the exact hours because they do change and I don't want to give you the wrong information. But yes, you can work part-time on a student visa, but you are limited to the amount of hours that you're allowed to work in term time. So students can work up to a certain amount of hours per week during term time, and they're a bit less restricted during university holidays. So we do have a system called campus jobs, with the idea being that if there's a job on the university campus that a student could do, then we want our students to be doing it. So campus jobs is a bit like an online job board that all of our students can have a look at. And you can apply to work in the cafes, in the library. You can apply to help with kind of calling campaigns to students like yourself. You can help with research projects and then be paid accordingly for those. We do have careers fairs for external employers to come and speak with you as well. But a lot of our students do choose to do their part-time work through that campus jobs framework, just to have that added flexibility and, to work on campus where it is that you're living as well. And see, another question here. So deadline for accepting your offer for a master's or PhD program. Yes, is the answer to that. So students have generally up until May in which to decide if they want to accept their offer. So if you're applying quite early in the cycle, for example, if you applied in September 2020 for a program that was starting in September 2021, you would have up until May to decide whether or not you want to accept your offer. If you're applying after May, so if you're a late applicant, which of course also happens when students want to apply later in the year, then you'll have about 4 weeks after you receive your offer in which to reply to it. However, if you are waiting to accept the offer for any particular reason, for example, if you're waiting for the outcome of a scholarship application, or there are other external factors which are preventing you from applying or from replying to that offer, do let us know, because we can sometimes be a bit flexible for students if we know that there is a special reason that they're not able to accept their offer yet. So always keep in touch with myself or the main admissions staff and let them know. We'll always see what we can do for the students. And I think last question I've got here for now is related to Commonwealth country citizens. So we don't offer any specific benefits for Commonwealth member country citizens, but we do partner up with the Commonwealth scholarship opportunities. So students do sometimes come to us through those Commonwealth scholarships. So yes, that's kind of the main link that we have to that. But outside of that, no, we don't have any specific benefits for Commonwealth member countries. So, so you have a little bit longer if you do have any more questions at all. I will put my email address again into the chat. Yeah, so you are able to contact me if you do have any further questions or you'd like to have a one-to-one meeting over video or over the phone. I'm more than happy to arrange that with you, and then we can have a bit more of an in-depth discussion about your particular academic background, what your qualifications are, what subject it is that you're looking to study, and I can make it a little bit more personal and specialised for you as well. So are we able to bring up my presentation a little bit bigger again? Because I just wanted to put the main contact information up again for you. So I did say I'd bring these back up again, just in case you wanted to note any of them down, because I know that you're not able to click on the links at the moment. So if you have any questions about pre-sessional English have requirements, then you can email our pre-sessional admissions team. For the International Foundation Programme, we have our IFP team. Undergraduate and postgraduate also have their own inboxes. And I've also got the links here again for the RISES portal, which is our applicant portal if you want to make an application, and the accommodation pages. So if you do have any questions outside of that, or if you want to ask me to look at your qualifications first before speaking to the admissions team, then you can always contact me directly on the email address that I put into the main chat. So I think that's all of our questions for now. Obviously, if you do have any questions that you'd like me to answer now, we've still got a couple of minutes in which I'm more than happy to do so. If not, I will hand back over to my colleagues in the main host team.
Yes, thank you very much for your great presentation, Frankie. It was a really comprehensive and informative webinar for the attendees.
Right, thank you for having me.
We had a lot of questions, and I think you covered them all.
I'm hoping so. I know I went very quickly, so do everyone please contact me if you don't feel I answered your question in full, and we can go through it in a bit more detail together.
Yes, thank you very much. I would also like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. University of Reading ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için Frankie'nin paylaşmış olduğu mail adresinden ve şu anda ekranda görmüş olduğunuz mail adreslerinden iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Aynı zamanda sizi altıdaki webinarımıza da davet etmek isteriz. Thank you very much again, Frankie. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Thank you so much. Hope everyone has a lovely rest of your afternoon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.